Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to react to another Piers Morgan debate where apparently he decides to identify as a black lesbian. So this should be interesting.
Well, joining me now is the author and commentator Angelica Malin, TalkTV's Esther Krakue and Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren. So Tomi Lahren, let me start with you. Two people in Britain today who've been at the forefront of not saying what a woman is. One is Nicola Sturgeon, the ex-First Minister of Scotland, who lost her job because of this ridiculous farce of a rapist self-identifying. She tweeted today, proud on International Women's Day to visit my old University of Glasgow, and banged on about women's rights. This is the woman who just literally lost her job for allowing a male rapist into a female prison.
And therein lies the consequences of this. People aren't seem to understand this. Allowing a male rapist into a female prison. This is where we're going with this kind of thing, where we allow people to identify as a woman and we just have to take their word for it. Well, we don't have to take their word for it. We can clearly see that they're not a woman, but anyway. And we're allowing them into women's spaces. Someone's going to get hurt. And I'm glad she lost her job, as she should.
And Sir Keir Starmer, who's leader of the opposition Labour Party here, was talking about protections for women in Parliament today, and yet he refuses to say what a woman is. Where are we with this? How has it come that leaders of parties in countries like the UK, and we see a lot of it in America as well, just won't say what a woman is?
Well, first of all, I have to apologize to you because all of this wokeness originates here in the United States of America, and then we export it to you in the UK.
Yes, you're to blame.
So we started this really in America. Yes, we are. You know, the wokeness starts here, and then it, of course, moves over, and now you guys have to deal with it. The world has to deal with it.
And sometimes the UK takes it to a new level, though. I've got to say, you take it to a new level.
But I say this, I'm proud to celebrate International Women's Day because I know what a woman is. So I would say if you don't know what a woman is, you don't get to celebrate it. You don't get to pretend to be a feminist when it's helpful to you or helpful to your political narrative. You have to be able to define what a woman is. This is all a farce. They are seeking to erase women, and this is the radical rainbow mafia, as I call it. This is not your average LGBT activist. This is the rainbow mafia section of that radical LGBTQ movement that has made women less than, and then has elevated all of this transgenderism and all of this pick your gender, identify as potato. They have hijacked the women's rights movement, the feminist movement, and actual feminists should be really pissed off about it.
Well, as a feminist...
Absolutely. I mean, how are you going to say that you can't define what a woman is? People in Parliament cannot define what a woman is. Judges, Supreme Court judges here cannot define, who happen to be female themselves, cannot define what a woman is. And we're supposed to just act like this is progressive. This is why the rest of the world are laughing at us. If you watch Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman? He goes to countries in Africa. He tells them that here in the West, we are having trouble defining what a woman is. They're laughing hysterically because they're like, what? And then he asked them at the end, do you want to come to America? No. Because we're a laughing stock.
Feminist I am. I recently interviewed Angelica, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, and I asked him this question, which seems to stump many other leaders. Here's the clip. What is a woman? We know that Nicola Sturgeon can't answer that. We know Keir Starmer can't answer that. You're the British Prime Minister. What is a woman?
Yeah, of course I know what a woman is, adult human female.
Thank God the British Prime Minister can define a woman. I'm so thankful to hear that. Because if we ask Joe Biden, what do you think he's going to say?
It's not difficult, is it, Angelica? I mean, that is what a woman is.
I mean, I don't know why you're obsessed with defining it. Like, what is a man? Like, why do we need these arbitrary...
A man is a male, adult human. I mean, that's it.
Right, OK. I don't know that we need
these are just biological facts, but they're just facts. They're not arguable points, are they?
But I think...
Why is it an obsession now? You see the words they throw out. So we ask you what a woman is, and now we're obsessed. What? You're obsessed with trying to redefine what a woman is. How about that?
I think we have a right to self-identify, and you said
As
you
what?
want to.
As what? Well,
If you would like to be a woman, you can identify as a woman. I don't know why there is such an issue around.
We've literally just seen a male rapist use that scam to get himself put into a female prison where he could attack vulnerable women inside a female prison, when even his ex-wife said it was all a scam.
Which is a terrible, very distressing, isolated incident, and I think it's easy to take.
It's not
that and say
isolated.
that means
It's going to become a lot more prevalent.
No one can identify as a woman,
But
and
it's
that's
not an
that's
isolated
not fair.
incident, though.
But it's
42% of trans-identifying prisoners in prison are in there for sex crimes. There's actually an advantage, evidently, to identifying as a female, because they never identify as male, because somehow male prisons seem less appealing to them. It's really weird. Anyway, but
Is it limitless, this self-identity?
It's not totally limitless.
What's the
but
limit?
when you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if
because
anyone,
there's so many benefits.
right? But if
to having
anyone,
a
according
day.
to you, can identify as a woman, anyone can, right?
I don't see a problem.
It's only the women's spaces that get this, though. We're the ones who have to deal with this. Unfortunately, it infringes upon women's events, women's spaces, women's awards, women's everything. When it's the other way around, for some reason, nobody wants to identify as a white male. I don't know why.
I don't see a problem with
Just literally put the hand up and say, I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the
it's
world.
incredibly
It's very easy.
Incredibly easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
What
this
does
is
doing
who,
it involve?
whatever that person decides, but to
Does
go
it
out
involve
into the
makeup?
world and say I don't identify as perhaps the sex I
So
was
why
born
can't
as.
I
It's not-
identify? Okay, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean,
I'm serious. I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is,
I
why
think-
can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I'm laughing more at her reaction.
Kind of absurd
No, no.
status.
I think
we're
that's
talking
what.
about quite a
with
strong
respect, I think
physical
that
change.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You
How
can
is
do
he
what you like.
absurd?
Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
Actually, I think what you said ridicules trans people, because actually people who go through the full process of transition, who actually go through what we used to call a sex change, which I don't think you can muck around with original biology, but those who actually go through surgical procedure over a number of years, I've got great respect for that very difficult journey they go on. I had zero respect for people who just wallop their hand up and go, suddenly, I'm a woman and I want all the rights that a woman has.
It's a very difficult process. But if you're an adult, that's your choice. But my thing is, do not push it onto children and do not push it onto women, where we have to have them in our spaces because they identify as a woman. And like Piers is saying, you don't need to do all of that to be given access to women's spaces. You just have to say you identify as a woman. You don't even have to wear a wig. It's insulting to tell us that we're obsessed because we're not on board with that, or there's something wrong with us because we're not on board with that. And she's being disingenuous. This creates a loophole by which any man, any predator as well, and I'm not saying anybody who engages in this is a predator. I'm not putting a blanket statement out and saying if you identify, if you're male, born male, and you identify as a woman, I'm not saying you're automatically a predator. But if someone is a predator, this gives them access. And I don't understand how she's not seeing that, or she's being very disingenuous. This creates a loophole for predators, for pervs, for liars. And it creates a loophole for people who want to dominate women's sports too, and actually be successful in sports.
And I want to compete, say, in sport. I'm a 6'4" athlete, sprinter, swimmer, whatever, who's competed very mediocrely in male sport.
Exactly.
And I want to come in and crush women in swimming pools and in sprinting events and break all their records, perhaps irrevocably, just by saying, I'm a woman. I think that is the absurdity you were talking about.
With the whole Leah Thomas situation, they stopped that dead in its tracks before it became international, because Leah was on course to break in Olympic records of female Olympic athletes. And this would have affected sports forever, because that record probably would have been there for a very long time. If not, it would never have been broken. And it would have just basically made international Olympic sports null and void for women. I mean, this is where we're going.
My response was to say, well, if it's limitless, why can't I then say whatever I want to say? And you say immediately, as I knew you would, well, that's ridiculous. But my point is, you were being ridiculous.
Exactly.
Well, that's your opinion. You can think I'm ridiculous, but I don't think you can say, well, it has to
I don't know why I am, but you're not.
I don't think you have to say it's post-op is the only way that someone's allowed to identify as trans.
The original standard
the
original standard for being transgender was being diagnosed with gender dysphoria, which is a legitimate condition. And now it's being, however way you feel. So if you feel on Tuesday you're a woman and on Thursday you're a pizza, that's perfectly valid. But to you, that's ridiculous. And I want to know why that is ridiculous. We should be talking about actual women on International Women's Day. That's not crazy.
I mean, I agree. I think, but your idea of an actual woman...
chromosomes.
It's an adult female. It's not difficult.
The chromosomes are a pretty good indication.
I don't think...
We're at the point where women themselves don't know what a woman is. Are you kidding me? An actual... Yes. Is that offensive to say that International Women's Day, we should celebrate women? Is that offensive? Or now we don't know what that means, apparently. And this is coming from women themselves. That's what gets me. If anyone should know what a woman is, it should be a woman.
You have to be biologically female to identify
Then
as
you
a
are
woman.
wrong, because then I can identify as a fox.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of an absurd point.
How many? Well, let me ask you this, Angelica. How many genders are there?
2.
There are 2 genders.
Oh.
Wow. So you don't believe in transgenders at all?
Well, I think there are...
Well, hang on.
That's a classic gotcha moment.
Oh, whoa. There are 2 genders?
Well, it's taught in...
Well, you say, well, you've literally just launched this huge defence of transgenderism. Now you've eradicated it.
I think
If there are 2 genders, you mean male and female, right?
There's gender fluidity. I will...
Fluid between what?
Between what?
Between different identities, and we can choose different
You
identities.
see how difficult this is, though?
But it is difficult, but I think making...
But it's not difficult until you make it difficult. You see, the BBC has done teaching videos to 11 and 12-year-olds where they say there are 100 genders. One of them was astrogender, which is an affinity with the stars and the galaxy. My response to that on the last show I did was to say, well, in that case, I identify as a 2-spirit penguin. I was then told I was being ridiculous, but I made the same point.
So they're not being ridiculous for saying there's 100 genders when everybody knows there are only 2 genders, even the activist here. And this is precisely why nobody wants to define what a woman is because of the gotcha moment. How pathetic. So you're willing to destroy women's spaces. You're willing to risk women's lives, women's safety. You're willing to put them at risk of SA just because you want to go along with this farce. They don't want to offend. And they don't want to be seen to be on the wrong side. So they won't say it. They won't say what a woman is. But yet, they're willing to go along with, drag this thing right to the very end until we're at a point where there's going to be a hell of a lot of lawsuits, people with irreparable damage to their bodies. And unfortunately, they're willing to sacrifice children. They're willing to drag children through this to make their point. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below. Do you think Piers completely destroyed that woman's argument about how anybody can celebrate International Women's Day because anybody can identify as a woman? That's basically what she was saying. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.